We're so happy that you're here with us. My name is Katie Beasley. I'm the Communications Director at Orphan Network. As we've started doing these calls last year, we really enjoyed the opportunity to just say hello at the beginning and get started, and try to have more of an interactive format. So again, thank you for spending this time with us. We are just excited to be with you, be in your presence, and celebrate the things that are happening in Nicaragua. Even in tough times, some really awesome things have happened. And so we're excited to update you on how your support has made such a difference. We have board members on the call today, church partners, investors, longtime child sponsors, staff members. We have 3 folks from our team in Nicaragua on the call today. And we are just so excited to be with you. I'm going to go through how our call is going to run and just kind of get everybody settled, and we will kick things off. Today's so on live streaming on Facebook. We will send out the recording within the next 2 days, so you have access. If you can't stay on the whole time, or if there's something you want to listen to again, we will make sure to share that with you as a follow-up for being here, and you can please share it with others that would benefit from the messages. So we're going to start with Eddie Morales, our country director in Nicaragua. He's going to give us, provide 2 updates, first starting with the hurricane support, all of the awesome ways we've been able to support the local churches in Nicaragua to respond to these events that came in November back to back. So we're going to hear from Eddie on that. And then we're going to hear transition to our food support update. So again, with all the craziness of 2020 and the risk of losing food that we rely on to feed 23,000 children, we had to shift our plan and buy food in Nicaragua. So we're going to update you on how that's going, all thanks to your generosity. That's been able to happen, and our children have not missed any meals, and that's what certainly we're celebrating. After both of those sessions, we're going to pause to address some of the questions that you sent in advance. And thank you for sending those and for sharing what was on your mind. So we'll be happy to tackle those. And then we will transition to our orphanage update from Dick Anderson, our CEO. He's going to talk about the shift with our ministry and our orphanage partners. We're going to hear from Eddie again about our vision for the future. And we're also going to get to hear from Jasmina Almanza, our program director in Nicaragua, who works with the orphanage homes. And again, we'll pause after that to answer the questions that have come in through our registration process. Throughout the call, if you find that you still have questions, please use the chat box, and we will we'll see if we can get to them during the call. If not, we will be happy to stay on after our hour is finished and just chat about anything that's on your mind or anything that you didn't hear or might have missed. So we'll be happy to stay on a little longer, but we're going to honor our hour that we have with you. We know everybody has very demanding schedules. So again, thank you for being here. And I'm going to start us in prayer. We'll start and close in prayer. So I am going to, if you will, bow your heads with me, please. God, we are so humbled by the work that you call us to do in Nicaragua. We're humbled by each person on this call, each life that they represent, and how you are working through each of us to make an impact in the world, and specifically in Nicaragua, all for the greater good of your holy kingdom. So we just ask you to be with us today, bless the technology to work on our side, and just speak through us, in us and through us. And we ask that you would just pour out your blessings upon all of those on the call today, and just for their involvement in this work that you've called us all to. Thank you for continuously going before our ministry, for always guiding us in your direction. And we just thank you for your presence, and do ask you to stay with us in our call today. Amen. So it's my pleasure to introduce Country Director Eddie Morales.
Great. So good afternoon to everyone. As Katie, I am so excited to see familiar faces, to see friends, and I I know it's investors, but I would prefer to say friends. No? And as Jim Holbrook said, I'm missing you guys. I'm missing being in the United States since March of last year. I have not been there, seen my friends. So today I'm so excited and I feel so blessed to be with you and to see your faces on the screen. Thank God and thanks for technology. Thanks for investing this hour with us, to learn about what God is doing in Nicaragua through Orphan Network. And as usual, Orphan Network, it's you, Orphan Network is me. We are all Orphan Network. So thank you so very much. And I would like to start by sharing the good news of last year regarding our main objectives. As you know, in Nicaragua, our main objective through our program is to preach the gospel, is to make sure that everyone is having or working towards a relationship with Jesus. And in 2020, 4,226 people said yes to Jesus. I can imagine all the party went on and going on in heaven, as the Bible says, because of this number of people saying yes to Jesus. We are definitely celebrating. The number is also increasing because we have decided that we would include people coming to Jesus through all of our programs. So all of our partners receiving benefits from us or being served through us, they are reporting all the people coming to Jesus. So I invite you to definitely celebrate with us this number of people coming to Jesus. Regarding hurricane support, as you know, we went through 2 hurricanes in Nicaragua. Man, it's been really hard, going from political turmoil through COVID, closing the year with 2 hurricanes in less than a month. It was really hard, but thank God, and I really want, on behalf of all of our staff, partners, and the people, especially in the East Coast, I want to say thank you so very much for your generosity and for your support to every person who was affected by Hurricane Eta. I was just thinking as we were preparing for this, I was thinking that after the first hurricane, we had 2 trucks of food ready to go, thanks to Feed My Starving Children with a container that they committed. And then we bought some food here. And as we were preparing, they said, okay, the next hurricane is coming. And the 2 trucks were on their way. Actually, they went through the hurricane into Puerto Cabezas, just getting food ready for the people who were affected through the hurricane. So thank you so very much. For your support, we were able to raise $378,000, as you can see, $400 from you, from churches, partners, even our staff in Nicaragua, and 117,000 worth of food and gift in kind, I would say water, medicine, food, Bibles, and things that we provided. Thanks to World Vision, Fabreto, El Granjero, Feed My Starving Children with the container that they committed for this purpose. So in hurricane relief, we were able then to provide 346,000 meals for 10,000 people, obviously, who were affected through the 2 hurricanes that we went. And as you know, we started just day 1 after the first hurricane. I think it's also important to say that most of the food, because of the speed we needed to move with, most of the food were purchased in Puerto Cabezas by Pastor Earl and his staff and his team in Nicaragua. So most of the food we provided were purchased there. Also, it's important, I think, to mention that, as you know, we have a program in Puerto Cabezas. Every day we're feeding 600 children, but because of the hurricane, we doubled our meals. So they were receiving 2 meals a day for the first 3 months. We supported them with 3 meals a day in Puerto Cabezas. We went down, David Gutierrez, who is actually in this meeting, and I went down, and Pedro from Matagalpa, we went down to see how we could have continued to support. And the one thing we had in our mind from the very beginning was, we call it our gap strategy. So as we were supporting, we were trying to see where there were gaps, where there were needs that no one was covering or providing for. So the first thing we learned in the community was, one, the people were receiving food, even we were providing food, and they look at us and they said, you know, we don't even have a pot to cook in because the hurricane took everything. So we said, okay, then we have to provide pots, plates, spoon, cup, because they didn't have it. The second thing that we learned was, although the government and others were providing like tin sheets and trying to help with nails, and they were finding lumber to try to build something to move their family into, they were saying, you know, we're receiving all of this support, but again, the gap, we don't even have a hammer, no. So again, what we did, we step up and we say, okay, we're going to buy a kit per community of hammer, saw, and a whole bunch of tools that they would use. In this approach, what we were looking for really was, how can we help them to help their self as well in this gap strategy is what we called it. No. The third thing we said is, we definitely want to make sure that we're going to support them, so help them to help themselves, if I can use that phrase. So we said, okay, do you plant? You know, can we provide seeds? They said, no, we're all fishermen. You know, the communities, most of the communities we went to, they said, oh, we're fishermen. So we said, let's provide with fishing gears, fishing nets, no, so they can definitely start producing for them, for their family, start producing for themselves, and obviously have the support they needed to provide for their family. So livelihood, income for their family. No, so that's what we did. We provided fishing gears, we provided nets for them. In this area, and even little things like in the shelter center where we were providing food from day one after the hurricane, we also learned that like the seniors, they're coming from dirt floor communities or wood floor homes, and so they were used to walking around even without shoes. Now they were in a shelter or in a center with a concrete floor, so they were starting to have pains in their feet, in their legs, in their knees. And we learned that definitely what was happening is that they weren't used to, they didn't have shoes for this cold concrete floor. They needed something. So we even step up and say, you know, we should at least provide flip-flops. You know, and I mentioned this just to say that definitely God led us in this process to see where there were needs, where there were gaps that we were able to step up and to provide, so the people could have received the support they needed. Going forward, obviously, it's the big subject is rebuilding. No, so we have been looking into what the government is doing, what others like we call them the big guys, you know, like the World Bank, the Inter-American Development Bank, the European Union, and other organizations, the United Nations. A lot of money is been pouring into Nicaragua for rebuilding. So again, as we're coordinating with them and we're talking with them and for this rebuilding process, we are also looking in our strategy again where there are gaps, or going forward where there will be gaps that we should step up again and make sure that we're providing the support they need. The government has announced that there are 4,700 homes somehow affected or totally destroyed. So that's the amount I'm sure everyone is looking into. And again, we are joining all this effort with other organizations and trying to see where there will be gaps and how we can definitely contribute to this whole process. So that's what we have been doing regarding the hurricane, you know, taking advantage of this opportunity, obviously, to share the gospel and to serve, as you know, in our strategy, all that we're doing in these communities and in the region is through our local partner, Verbo Church, Pastor Earl, in the area. So that's where we have been now. And again, as I said, going forward, we're looking into the big rebuilding phase, which would be phase 3. You know, and again, join other organizations to support the people in these communities. Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie, for that update. It's really been just awe-inspiring to see everyone's support come through so quickly and just continuously for such a big effort that's been underway in Puerto Cabezas. And so thank you everybody for your support of that work. And so I'm going to transition to a question that we had come in from Dave Meyer. He asks, in view of COVID, economic and recent hurricanes activity, what new or emerging ministry opportunities are you seeing in Nicaragua? What's your response to that?
Sure. So I would mention several things, Dave. First, thank you for the question. Very, very good. And thanks for joining us too through this question. So first, I would say preaching the gospel. All that we're doing, again, that's our main objective. So yes, we're serving. Yes, we're working really hard to make sure our second goal, breaking cycles of poverty, working towards quality of life for the people we're serving. But our main objective is to bring Jesus. So we see this as opportunities as well to preach the gospel to the people in the area. The second thing I would say is trying to see how we can help them to help themselves. So all that we have been providing, like the fishing nets and all the fishing gears, is how can we help them to be self-sufficient, to be sustainability, So they're not going after the hurricane like, oh, I'm so poor, plus 2 hurricanes, can you help me, help me, help me, help me? And as a friend said, help me until Jesus comes. No. How can we help them to help themselves? And that's exactly what we have been doing. And even with the government, I would say, and the other organization, I personally have in meetings with them, I said, I think we should take advantage of this opportunity to make sure that we do everything right. So even like the homes that we're talking about rebuilding, can we just make it strong enough so they can be hurricane proof? So as example, can we use like hurricane brackets, to make it hurricane proof? So the big thing is, again, as Orphan Network, trying to see how we can do things really well. How we can, yes, we're serving the poor as the Global Leadership Summit said, we're serving the poor, but how can we serve them with dignity, with self-esteem? So we see these as opportunity, do things right, everything that we're doing, do it right, help them to help themselves, and how can we take advantage of this to preach the gospel as well?
Thank you for that response. We're going to transition to our discussion on the food support, the food purchase in Nicaragua. And we have been so blessed, I'm not sure how many people are aware that, as we talk about God going before us, before COVID was ever on our radar, Eddie worked with the United Nations Food Program and purchased food, had experience purchasing food locally in Nicaragua. So then here we faced COVID and restrictions that our partners would have on getting donated food packaged in the United States to send to Nicaragua. And so we were able to, Eddie's expertise in this field, I think you'll be excited to hear the advancements we've been able to make. And again, all because you guys, our investors and partners, just got behind us and said, what do we have to do to keep feeding these children? So we're excited to hear that update, Eddie.
Sure. And again, I just can't advance without saying thank you so very much for your support regarding food for our children. Obviously, as COVID hit, we also hear from our 2 great partners where we receive our containers of food, Feed My Starving Children and Rise Against Hunger, that they may not be able to provide all the containers that we need to meet our commitments with our children. And so obviously God provided through you, through friends, through brothers, churches, companies, business, different ways of fundraising. God provided food, money, so we were able to buy food in country. We bought nearly 400 tons of food in Nicaragua, which is awesome now with this 360,000, because also beside assuring that our children will have food and they will definitely receive these meals, which, by the way, it's important to mention that a big portion of these children, this is their best meal of the day. And for a group of children in seasons in the year, this is their only meal of the day as well. So this is key to our program and to you as well, I know. So thank you so much, parenthesis now. But we were able to buy this food that bringing in the money and buying it locally, we were able also to support the local economy, provide by buying the food in country. But also not only buying it in country from the big guys, in this business, but directly from the farmers, from the small farmers in Matagalpa, in Jinotega, which is like the northern region, or Cotal, which is even further north border with Honduras. We were able to buy all this food directly from these small farmers through pastors, even through our pastors. We took advantage of the network of churches and pastors. Roughly 279 churches were working within Nicaragua or working through. We took advantage of this network to say, we are buying beans if you know of small farmers that we can buy the beans from. And a pastor who has an expertise, who is an expert in beans, he helped us. But also we bought beans through friends like Fabreto Foundation, with whom we have a very good relationship. And then, so through Fabreto, we reached the local co-ops and local partners, and we bought the food in country. So supporting the economy was big for us as well. Feed My Starving Children continue to provide, but also Rise Against Hunger. They help us in this process of buying food locally as well. So we were able to make sure that we definitely meet the needs. We met the needs of our children in country. Now, what did we buy? Rice, beans, and egg. And we make sure that we got the product that we needed to keep the nutritional facts that our kids needs always. So from that perspective, we said, okay, the rice, the beans with our nutritionists, and then we added eggs, which we bought from a local, I would say a local partner. It's a business, but it's a local partner as well, because they give us a very good price on the eggs when we explained to them what this was for. But also this business provided internships. They still provide internships and jobs for our children. So they're a really great partner who we work with in country in order to make sure that definitely we had the rice we needed, the beans we needed, and the eggs we needed. So our kids definitely received all the meals. The other thing I would mention in this effort of purchasing food in country was that we were able to buy enough food so that our children, our partners, received the food that they needed in December for January and February. Just in case of COVID and all, any other thing that could have affected the process, we said, no, we want to make sure that we really prepare our churches and partners to have the food through February 2028. That's what we did. We gave for 3 months. And in February, we already gave food for March. And we have enough food that we purchased in November and December that would take us through April. Now we're also working already with our partners, pastors, and Fabreto to purchase the food that we're going to need going forward from May on. So again, all the objective is just to make sure that we have enough food, that our kids will receive the meal that they really need in order to break cycles of poverty and change their life on earth as we're preaching the gospel with them, to them as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, speaking of the food purchases in country, and right after our discussion of the 2 catastrophic hurricanes, what did the hurricanes do to the crops in Nicaragua?
That's a very good question. Thank you, Katie. It's good because as we were, several things. One, as we were preparing to buy food for our children, then we learned about the 2 hurricanes actually. So what really happens, especially with the beans, is that the price changes like hugely. We bought beans in Rivas, one of the region where we're serving, for like $40 for 1 bag of 100 pounds. One day before the hurricane. One day after the whole hurricane process, the same bag went from $40 to $65. I mean, that's the way this price can change. No, so obviously we were, again, using the network of pastors and churches we have in country. We were looking to see where we could have buy beans. First, where we could have find beans, because the hurricane destroyed most of the crops in Nicaragua in November. We were expecting the harvest of beans, especially because of the prices. We were expecting a great harvest that would lower the price, and we will buy at a lot lower price. But then we learned that the hurricane destroyed the crops. So then we had to work even harder to try to find beans, and have enough beans for our children. That was the first goal, which we did, thank God. The second was try to find it at a very good price, which we did as we went again to the farmers in Ocotal, in Jinotega, in Matagalpa. So we got it at lower price. We bought roughly like 2,000 bags of 100 pounds and just prepare for our children. The third thing that we knew that was happening is that as we lost the crops, we know that we will lose seeds for the next season, because we wouldn't have enough beans to eat, but we wouldn't have seed to plant for the next season. So all that to say, we really had to work hard and make sure that we had enough beans that would take us at least through the next season, which is roughly May. There was some seed that the government provided, very little, not the amount that the country needed, because of the hurricane. But yes, there is going to be a very small harvest in March, but we have enough right now, and we're already negotiating with our partners to see how we can buy more. That would definitely take us through at least the first half of the year, while we're expecting the next crop that will be coming in May. So yes, to answer your question, hurricane definitely affected or destroyed the crops, which obviously influence all that we're doing regarding food in country. But thank God God opened doors and we just run through them. We have enough beans for our children for this year. So.
Yeah, and you think about the cost increase and what that would put on a family who's just trying to survive. So thank God they've been able to come to the churches, and the churches have never had to say no. So that's awesome to see. So thank you, Eddie. Were a couple questions that came in regarding our connection with the government in Nicaragua. And Carter Harsh asked, and Amanda Harris both asked questions about how we work with the government or what the government knows about Orphan Network. So can you tell us if the government is fully aware of the entire scope of what we do and what they think of us, of Orphan Network in Nicaragua?
They do. I mean, they know us. They know Orphan Network very, very, very well. With all the laws in Nicaragua, and we have to file, all of our information. We have to share them. It's a lot of work, but we are meeting all the requirements and all the needs that the government is asking for. All the information they're asking for. So they know us very, very well. But I think that's an opportunity. It's an opportunity because by knowing us well, they know that we are serving over 23,000 children in Nicaragua. They know that we are in the poorest region, the poorest counties, the poorest communities, rural area. So they know the work that we're doing. They know that we are doing everything in country through the local church. They even know, because in the meeting we say to them, we're definitely focused on what God called us to, break cycles of poverty as we're bringing Jesus to the families, to the people that we're serving. That's what we're focused on. That's what we're doing. So they know Orphan Network very, very well. And interestingly, in several meetings, even when we went to present our financial report, they said, we're really thankful with the work that you all are doing in Nicaragua, the way you're serving the children, the way you are working. We're really thankful. And in big meetings, they thank organizations, nonprofits like us, saying that definitely without you guys, we wouldn't be able to serve all these people and to do all that you are doing in country. So far we have received all of our legal documents, where everything is good, everything is working. We present our report, everything to them, and they have authorized us to continue to serve in Nicaragua. So the relationship is good. It's going very, very well. Obviously, a lot of more work than it used to be, but we are definitely stepping up and meeting all their needs and just advancing. And as the team and the staff always say, it's because of our children. We love our children, and we know that if we don't step up and meet these needs, we may be shut down, and that means that 23,000 children or even a little more will suffer, and we don't want that. So we step up we love our children, and we want to make sure that they're receiving the benefits that they need.
Thank you. We have about 1 minute before going to our next segment. We did have a question come in from Skip Giannopoulos. He asked, when we stop purchasing food from the local partners, what will the impact be to them? And has that been communicated with them?
I would say the way it works is that the local farmers, they have been always selling. I mean, probably the best way to put it is when we went to Ocotal to buy beans in December, early December, there was a whole bunch of trucks from Managua there. Everybody was fighting for these bags of beans. Because we lost all the crops. So the the big guys in Managua who they buy and sell, obviously they buy at a very low and they sell at a very high. They were there, but the people said, we are going to sell it to you because we know that it's for the children of Nicaragua. But I would say if we stop buying, I think they will sell it to the other people in country as well, somehow. I mean, that's what personally I would believe, that they will definitely sell it to someone, yes, in country.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, we are going to, thanks so much, Eddie, for those updates. We're going to transition to Dick Anderson. He's going to update us on the developments with our orphanage home partners. Everyone that registered for the call, we sent out our communication on Friday just to give you some background information if you didn't have that already. And so we're just going to have some time with Dick sharing this really important update for us. And Dick, take us away, please.
All right. Thank you, Katie. And I do want to add to all of you, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so encouraged by your interest. We so appreciate all your investments in us that make this whole ministry possible, makes the impact for our children in Nicaragua possible. I'm honored that, our friends from Rise Against Hunger and our friends from Feed My Starving Children are here on the call with us just to show support. We appreciate that. We appreciate all that you're doing and all the heroic efforts that you're trying to do to get back to get to the levels of food that you've been providing to all your partners around the world. I was talking to Brent Altman yesterday at Grace Family down in Tampa, and they had just done a packing event with Rise Against Hunger last weekend. In 2 hours, they packed 40,000 meals. And my good friend Jim Holbrook was so excited when Feed My Starving Children opened up. Every Friday night he goes with a group of people. They pack meals at Feed My Starving Children. And it's just so fun to see how we're all connected with each other and the impact that we're having in Nicaragua because of all of us coming together to do our part to help the children. So thank you so much for that. For me, it's also important that you know that despite all of the challenges from last year, COVID, food support, the 2 hurricanes, in the largest segment of our ministry, the local church initiatives, where we're serving 23,000 children, we had a banner year. We had some of the best program results in the history of our ministry. We have helped more children get out of malnourishment and wiped out malnourishment in more communities than ever before. We had more children have access to after-school education programs, and their grades in math and in Spanish language skills of reading fluency and comprehension were the best that we've ever had. And as Eddie started off this meeting, the most important thing is the fact that we had so many children and parents come to know the Lord last year, over 4,000. And that, that's what we're all about. And so we just say thank you for the 4,226 people that said yes to Jesus last year. And we look to the Lord for that to be even more. Now today, it's a very, very sad day for us because we announced a change in direction away from our orphanage partners over time. And I want to stress that it's over time, it's not an immediate. And you can imagine what we're going through because orphanages is what got us started in Nicaragua 20 years ago. I mean, we've been partnering with folks for over 20 years, but the landscape has changed and we must face the new reality. You know, when Eddie and I first started working together now almost 13 years ago, there were 88 orphanages in Nicaragua. But over the times and the years, we've seen Mi Familia close up most of those homes under the United Nations UNICEF Guidelines. And that's been administered by Mi Familia. Mi Familia is the government agency. And here in the United States, it would be equivalent to our Department of Children and Family Services, our DCFS. They are the ones that have all the power, have all the oversight for the orphanage homes in Nicaragua. And they have adopted the UN and UNICEF resolution that really stresses that if a child has any family member out there, any potential to be reconnected with their family, they should be placed there versus placed in an institution, or they use the word institutionalized. Now, I have to be honest with you, I bristle when I hear the word institutionalized, because I know, and you know, because many of you have been to our homes, you've seen this with your own eyes. I really bristle at the thought that these kids are institutionalized, because you see the loving caregivers, you see how the homes are working, so hard to provide for these children. And so that institutionalized word, kind of sparks you. But what the new reality is that there are only going to be 3 homes in Nicaragua that meet the Mi Familia criteria. And they have a list of our criteria that talks about true orphans or children that have been sex traded or commercially traded or in abusive situations. So they're only going to have 3 homes in the whole country. And they're planning that these will be very short-term stays for the kids in the homes. Now, they will have another 5 homes for special needs children. So that'll take place. But the children that we've been serving in that are going to be placed in the remaining 3 homes. And they have basically, with our partners that we have now, if you look at our Verbo Church partner with the 2 Casa Bernabe orphanages, the one in Veracruz, which is outside of Managua, many of you have been to, or the other one over in Puerto Cabezas. Basically, they've relinquished all authority on the remaining children in those homes. And they've said, you're no longer a home under Mi Familia's criteria. What you are is you are an education facility. Those children have parents, and so they are children of poverty. They are not children who fall under our criteria. And of course, all of you have received the letter that explains all of this in detail. The 2 other homes, the homes that Arms of Love and Hogar de Fe, they will have children there who do meet the criteria of Mi Familia. And those homes will be given new children from Mi Familia, and they'll have those children taken away at Mi Familia's whim to be placed out with family members. Now, for us, this put us into an untenable situation. And what makes it untenable is what it means is that the 2 Verbo homes are no longer homes that serve the children that is Orphan Network's vision going back 20 years. But what they're serving is children who have parents, but they have grown up in poverty. So they're being given an opportunity in that situation. And for us, what makes that untenable is that we have our local church initiative programs. where we're serving 23,000 children. And that's where we're serving children in poverty. And that's where we're trying to prevent orphans from happening through the local church initiatives. So that doesn't really fit with our vision. The other two homes, Hogar de Fe and Arms of Love, those are homes where Mi Familia has made it very clear to us that it's going to be all short-term stays, that they're going to have the children come in and out and get them back to families or family situations. And for us, it doesn't allow us to accomplish our vision of our 7 targets for our children, that they would be Christ followers, that they would speak conversational English, that they be computer illiterate, have good life skills, and get a high school education, and then get good starter jobs. We would not be allowed to accomplish our targets that we have because of that whole short-term stay philosophy. So our board in December made the tough decision that we needed to move away from our homes. And in January, we built a transition plan and presented that to the board to approve. And basically our plans, again, and this is over time, but our plans are to really support our homes. Now, please realize that these homes they're our partners. They are our friends. On this call is Jess Spurge Mora, one of the leaders of Arms of Love. They are our friends. We've had long-term relationships with them. We have worked shoulder to shoulder with them. We've given our guts for the kids in their homes. So we don't want to just drop this. We want to provide for them. And so we're trying to do 2 things for them. One, with your help as investors, you'll help us to provide the financial support for them for this year. So we've guaranteed to them that the agreement that we've made at the beginning of the year for the support, we're going to honor that for this year. And then the second thing is we're going to help them develop their fundraising capabilities so that they can achieve the plans that they have for their homes. So whatever we can help them do from a fundraising standpoint, we're going to do that. And that includes working with some of you as our investors who may say, you know, I'd rather stay with the home than go with the direction that Orphan Network is going in. And if that's what you would like to do, then at the end of this year, we're going to help facilitate that. We're going to do anything we can to help our homes as they want to achieve their strategic plans. The second thing we're going to do is work with the older children in the homes. We know the names of the children in the homes. We've been working with them for years. They are very important to us. And so what we've done is we've focused on the older children, the 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, essentially the high schoolers in Nicaragua. And we're now calling them a new name. We're calling them pursuers, because they are pursuers of their dreams, and we want to help them. And each one of them is going to have a life development plan, and each one of them we're going to support as part of our transition program. See, Orphan Network's transition program, which is already in existence, already serving over 70 children. These are for the children that age out of the orphanages that we've worked with. That program is still going to exist. And what we're going to do is take these pursuers and move them in that transition program and support them until those children reach Nicaraguan adulthood. And so we want to be there to support them. So in ending, we're ending one chapter of our ministry, a very important chapter for us that we have been focusing on for years. But now the Lord, who has gone before us and opened up another part of our ministry, which is the largest part of the ministry for 23,000 children, that's what we're going to focus on going forward. That's our future plans. And I've asked my partner, Eddie, to share what those plans look like for the near future. So Eddie.
Sure. Thanks, Dick. And as Dick said, definitely it's hard for all of us, not only for Dick, for all of us, it's hard to make decisions like this, but we want to make sure that we're making a difference in this world. We're changing things, and then we want to make sure that that we're going to advance, with our kids, in the life of our kids. And then in our mission statement, we say, or the second component of our mission statement said that we want to prevent vulnerable children from being abandoned. And we want to really focus on that through our local church initiatives through which we have been serving over 23,000 children. So we will definitely continue in that component, as well as the third part of our mission statement says we want to create opportunities for new life. So we are going to continue to do that for our 23,000 plus children that we have been serving. Now, also, we understand the needs in Nicaragua. It's big. And obviously, with all the political, economical, and biological, if I can say, situation that we're going through, things have been getting tough for many, many families. And the needs in Nicaragua have been definitely big. So as the need is big, we come up with very big and audacious goal too, I would say. So going forward, we want to add 10,000 new children in Nicaragua to our local church initiative program this year. Today, we're serving 23,000 children in 15 out of 17 departments in Nicaragua. By the end of December, we want to reach 33,000 children in 16 departments. So only one department would be pending in Nicaragua. That's our big goal that we're shooting for. That's what we're working for. So we are definitely going to continue to change the life of our children in this country, in our country, in Nicaragua. And I would like to introduce Jasmina too. Jasmina, as you know, Jasmina is our program director for homes. And she will definitely continue working with the homes this season with 198 children that we have in our 4 homes that we're still supporting and we will continue to support in this transition season. And she will also be working with the 9th, 10th, and 11th grades, which represents roughly
55.
55, thank you, Jasmine, 55 children. So we are going to continue with those, plus 79 children that we have in our current transition program already. So 79 children that we have in college, finishing high school, in vocational, in technical training, again, to break cycles of poverty. And then we will be definitely adding these 55 children that we're calling pursuers. We're going to help them to pursue their dream and to break cycles of poverty. So Jasmina will continue to work with them. So here is Jasmina.
Thank you, Eddie. And thank you everyone for joining us today, taking the time to join us. I get emotional because it's not easy seeing all these faces that really support us all this time. And thank you so much for all you do to support our children. On behalf of every one of them, I want to say thank you for your support. Thank you very much. And well, as Eddie and Dick explained, we will work a developmental plan for every one of our pursuers that are, again, 9, 10, and 11 graders. And the developmental plan will provide our children that are not really children, but young adults, the skills, training, and education needed to go into independent life. And what's the goal? The goal is that every one of them reach their God-given potential. So we will be working on that for this group of children, of kids, of young adults.
Thank you, Jasmina. We had a couple questions come in from sponsors that we want to address directly here. And we know they apply to more than just, while these are asking about their specific support, we know the question would help others as well. So Dennis Danachek, a longtime sponsor, asked what students would participate in the ongoing activities and how would they be administered. So as we've heard, the 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. So maybe you could just update Dennis on his specific child and then our overall plans to administer.
Yes, well, Dennis, thank you so much for your support for your kid. He is a pursuer, so he will continue next year. We will continue working with him next year. And this year we will work normally and kids will participate in all activities. So we will need your support to continue with all the work we do with the children. So again, this year we will continue normally with all the activities, and for next year, we will work a budget for all these pursuers students to continue with English, computer, and their education to finish high school and then go to the transition process to adult living, independent living, sorry.
Thank you.
So thank you for your support for him.
Another question came in from Linda Ellis, a longtime sponsor. She knows that the child she sponsors has a living mother. So what impact would that have on support this year or in the future?
Again, Linda, thank you so much for your support for your girl. And she is also a pursuer, so we will need your support for her. And what we can say with this, if a child is not a pursuer, if you wish to continue supporting a child, you can reassign your support to a pursuer. Or if you want to continue supporting a specific child, we will happily connect you with the home so you can continue the support.
Thank you. Hopefully that helped others that may have similar questions. Gary Fisher, if you're on the call, we know that you asked about how these changes would affect your church. Sponsors a lot of children in Puerto Cabezas. Hopefully that helped to answer, our general updates helped to answer that question. There were a couple questions that came in. Is the pursuer group just for youth transitioning from our homes, or does it apply to the LCI communities too? So I'll just take that and say currently this is our plan with our CPs, with our orphanage partnerships. As we said, you know, there's 100 and the roughly just under 200 children there, and we have worked so hard with all of these programs with English, computers, music, life skills, and it's really, you know, how can we take those pursuers and continue that path that we've invested into right now. In the future, I think we'll have opportunities, you know, as the Lord leads us to do more with those older children in our local church initiatives. But currently, this is the plan for our orphanage partnerships only.
Yeah, Katie, I like to add that we will communicate with every sponsor if her child is a pursuer or not, so they can take the decision if the child is not a pursuer, to continue supporting another child or to continue supporting directly to the home. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much again.
Okay. And thank you everybody again for your questions. Eddie, did you have something?
Yeah, I was reading Jim Hardwork question regarding ASAP.
Which is the after school education program.
Yeah, if it's okay, I can say yes, Jim. We are currently serving 44 groups of children. Each group has 25 children in our local church initiative. And the goal is this year to move that number from 44 to 66 groups of children. So in our picture of growing 10,000 new children, supporting more children, also in our current programs too. No, so definitely support there is it's really needed, obviously. But yes, we are definitely serving our children through our after school education program, because we understand that health, education, jobs is how we're going to break cycles of poverty. So that's key for us. That is key. And then going forward, our goal is to have the after school education program in all of our local church initiative. And the dream is to have 3 groups in each one of them. That's a big picture, I would say, that we have, you know, in all of them, 3 groups going forward. So thank you so much.
And just to clarify, I don't know if you covered that, but 3 groups is basically primary school, first and second graders, third and fourth, fifth and sixth. So we are going to honor our time limit of an hour. We're going to have the honor of introducing our board member, Teddy Reed, to close us in prayer today. But again, we'll stay on the call. There were a couple of questions that came in that we can address after, and we'll just dismiss everyone else. But we'd love to have anybody all of you stay on if you'd like to stay on after our closing prayer. But Teddy is here with us, and thank you so much for the important role you play in our ministry, and thank you for closing us today.
Dear Lord, we are so blessed to be your hands and feet with our pastors and children in Nicaragua. We've come to love our kids within the orphanages, and that makes this change so hard. We pray that these kids will be taken care of via others and will continue to grow in their studies and will know you, Lord. On the other hand, we will have an opportunity to serve more people via our local church initiatives. Guide us as these opportunities develop. Help us to create the most helpful plans for our people. We ask you for watch and care for our own country. We seem overwhelmed with concerns such as COVID, vaccines, education, and political challenges. And now we have very cold weather and electrical outages, etc., in the southern part of the US. Be with our people there and keep them safe and close to you. Thank you for each person participating in this town hall today, and for our Orphan Network staff for their preparation, presentation, and leadership. Continue to bless Orphan Network in our work in Nicaragua, and bless our children, pastors, teachers, medical staff, moms-to-be, and all others that honor us and love us, letting us be part of their lives. Be with them to seek your love and salvation, and help them to grow in relationship with you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you so much, Teddy. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. As we said, we'll hang on here. I know there were Earl Strickland, if you're still on the call, asked the question, and we'll just go right into them. What happens with the computer center and welding school? So Eddie or Dick, would you like to address that?
Be happy to. So the way that Orphan Network has always worked, when we work with a partner and make the decision to do a capital expense like the computer centers and that stays with the partner. That belongs to the partner. That's the trust and the relationship we have with the partner. So we're fully confident that even though we raised a substantial amount of money to put in computer centers at all of the homes, that they will continue to get good use. They'll continue to get good use from the children that live there. They'll also serve the community. We know that for example, at Hogarth Fay, the beautiful computer center that we have there with probably 40 terminals and access in that's used by their local Christian school. So the 275 children that attend that school also get access to that computer center. So we know that these will continue to be used very well.
Dick, a follow-up with that. Will
Yeah.
our children have access to the computer centers?
The children that are in the homes, yes, yeah, because they will stay. They're going to stay and be a part of the home, so they'll still have access to those computer centers, which are owned by the homes.
How about our life-changing initiative, children, the pursuers, and those sort of?
Yeah, okay, that's a completely different question. The pursuers will definitely have that because they're still going to be in the homes. They're still going to be growing up in the homes. The children in our local church initiatives, that's a totally separate, because those are children that are growing up in communities of abject poverty, communities of garbage dump communities. So the idea of computer centers and things like that doesn't really even exist for them in those dirt floor churches. For us, the way I like to look at it is, if you think of the children in our homes, they're almost like lower middle class children because they've got 24/7 care. They're being provided for 7 days a week. Quite different than the children growing up in the garbage dump communities, communities of abject poverty, where we're just trying to help those children get good, healthy bodies and minds, trying to get them a good starter education, And some of them, the best and the brightest, might be access to higher education and computers and that. But for the majority of them, it's going to be breaking the cycle of poverty by getting, local jobs, because we've provided them good health, we've provided them basic education, and now they're gonna get jobs that can be available with those skill sets.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, the after-school education program is really an important aspect, because in Nicaragua, in the whole country of Nicaragua, according to the United Nations, only 48% of the children of Nicaragua graduate from the 6th grade. And in the communities where we're working, communities of abject poverty and garbage dumps, the numbers is 21%. So only 1 out of 5 children in those communities graduates from the 6th grade. And so you can imagine the impact that we're having on those children with our after-school education program, and our goal that they'll all graduate from the 6th grade. Good questions. Thanks for staying on. Let's keep the questions going. We've got time here.
I got a direct question from Linda Davis, and maybe this was maybe you understand a little bit better now, but she asked just now to describe the future work of Orphan Network as an organization. What would our focus be in the next few years? And I think she is looking for clarity about after the transition process with the orphanages, with the orphanage students, children.
Well, we presented to our board a little over a year ago on a very aggressive 3-year plan that we have in Nicaragua. And it really does go about going into more and more communities where we are able to help transform those communities through our health and nutrition program and our feeding programs and our healthy beginnings programs. In those communities, again, these are communities of abject poverty, communities, garbage dump communities. Our goal is to create a platform of health where every child in that community, because they've been nourished and because we've helped with the moms through our healthy beginnings to have babies with healthy birth rates, and that they got a good start at life, which allows them to have a healthy mind and a healthy body. And if you've done any reading in this area, you probably have read the book, The First 1,000 Days, which talks about how the first 1,000 days of your life, so from inception to age 2, are the most important days of your life from a nutritional standpoint. And by age 5, a little bit, you got a few more years. By age 5, if you haven't gotten the nutritional needs met, then you're going to be stunted for your entire life. So it's game over by age 5. And that's why we are so focused on those younger children and creating that platform of health. Then the next aspect of our vision is to have an after-school education program where the children are getting at least a 6th grade education. And the focus that we call is educating for jobs. So I can guarantee you, we're not teaching about the flora and fauna of Nicaragua. We're not talking about the history of that. No, we're focused on math skills. We're focused on Spanish fluency, Spanish comprehension. It's educating for them for jobs. So they got a shot at breaking the cycle of poverty, because without a job, it's hard to break, So then we go into our vision is job training programs like we have through our garment training program, or we've had in the past through our welding training program. And in those communities where there really are no established employers, then it's a focus on home gardens. We piloted a home garden project last year that was just hugely successful. And now this year, we're going to roll that out to 20 different locations. So if you're in a community where there are no jobs or really no businesses in that, now we're focused on what we call self-reliance, because you can create your own home garden and you can support your family's livelihood with a garden that you grow, and you can nourish your family that way. And that is our big picture. And of course, doing everything through the local church so that we earn the right to share Jesus Christ. And of course, transforming the community, not only physically, but transforming the community spiritually. That's the big vision that we have going forward. Hope that helps.
Linda said that is very helpful. Thank you.
Jim Holbrook was raising his hand.
Yes, Jim.
Yeah. put it this way. I think the last time I was down there, you guys took me to Nueva Vida, and I got to see this after-school education program. And honestly, I never in my life have I seen children that were so excited about learning and what they were into. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing to see. And that's why I asked the question about after-school education. But I also wonder that it sounds like the children that are going to be leaving the orphanages after a year, I guess, will they have access to a feeding center, or is that appropriate, or
Yeah, good
will they have
question.
access to after-school education too?
Yeah, so good thing. The difficulty that we've always had as a ministry is being able to explain the track that our children are on who are part of our orphanage partners, and the track that our children are on who come out of our local church initiatives. And they're two totally separate tracks. So the children that are in the orphanages, they will continue on with their education. They are on a totally different track, and their opportunity for higher education is much greater. These kids who are in the pursuers category, we still expect them to graduate from high school because that's the goal that we have for them. That's a totally different track for the kids that are in the homes. The kids that are in our local church initiatives, theirs is a different track. And so our goal there is sixth grade education. And if we can help them to get a sixth grade education, that will transform those lives. So, so not to cross tracks, it's two, you have to think of them as two separate groups of children with two separate goals and two separate strategies to achieve that. I hope that helps.
Yeah, thanks, Dick.
Yeah, Jim. Other questions? Yeah, keep them coming.
Also, just a comment. I really like this idea you just talked about helping families, have gardens.
Thanks.
I think that's huge.
Thanks. Well, that's the benefit. Again, that's the benefit of working with our investors, because at Orphan Network, what makes us a little bit unique is we attract people to our ministry who want to do more than just stroke checks. They want to find ways to help us advance our ministry. And so this opportunity came through the benefit of Peggy King, who's our Director of Program Excellence, and one of our key investors she really enjoys gardening. And she has really helped us and provided advice, and even gone out and done research with other organizations to see what they do with home gardens. And then she's brought that back. She's just a part of our team, part of our work group to help us with our whole pilot program. And now as we go from being a pilot program to just mainstreaming home gardens into our strategies. So it's one of the benefits of having the ability to work with investors that bring more to the table. We've done that in the past with people that have brought their welding skills to us. We've brought that to the past where people have brought their life skills. So we're always looking for ways to involve people. And yes, we need people to stroke checks, but more than that, we also need talent that we don't have as a small, very entrepreneurial organization.
Another thing that along the gardening thing that comes to mind is in Germany, a number of times I've seen, I think what I'd call them community gardens, where these big areas that are all gardens, and different families, individual families, each have a little plot inside that garden. They might even have a little shed that they can put tools in and stuff like that. But within this community garden, each family has a little plot where they can raise what they want to raise.
Yep.
That's in Germany.
Skip, would you like to ask your question about Orphan Network's name?
Sure, yeah. So any thought to rebranding the organization, given the, step away from orphanages?
Well, I'm gonna let Eddie answer the second half of that question. I want Eddie, if you'll talk about the Orphan Network brand in Nicaragua and what you think it means in Nicaragua. From a U.S. perspective, Skip, the way that I've looked at it, I mean, the board has talked about it, and we've talked about it for really a number of years, especially as we started to see the Lord open doors for us in local church initiatives. But I guess I've rationalized it, maybe is the right word, by saying we're preventing orphan networks. So orphan network, the name orphan network still applies in my mind, because the biggest part of what we're doing is preventing kids from becoming social orphans. And we're doing that through the local churches in these communities. So, and Eddie, maybe you can comment about the Orphan Network brand in Nicaragua.
I would say from the, I think the question is very good, mostly for the US. From the Nicaraguan perspective, part of our values and our principles as organization is that we do everything through the local church. So what we're doing is, or what we're working really hard towards, is to make sure that we are empowering the local church and the local leaders. So in many communities, not many, in all of the communities, what we do is we don't go and put up like, and this is very big in Nicaragua, you know, if a nonprofit is financing something, the first thing they would do is come and put a big, like a signboard saying, you know, Orphan Network is doing this. Rather, we're saying, no, we want the church to be highlighted, understanding that church is the hope of the world, being Jesus the center. So we want to highlight Jesus, we want to highlight the church, we want to highlight the local pastor, the local leaders who are giving their life to change the life of the children, to make a difference in their life, to break cycles of poverty. So from that perspective, I would say in Nicaragua, it's not a big deal, to be honest. No, it is because in Nicaragua, they see, oh, the local church is feeding us. The local church is changing our life. The local church is doing. There is no marketing arma in Nicaragua, like trying to highlight Orphan Network or to lift Orphan Network. No, every time, even when people talk to us, we say, oh yeah, you know this pastor, oh, you know this church, man, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're there. We want to point people to Jesus through the local church and through the local pastors. So from that perspective, I would say it's in Nicaragua, it's not, it wouldn't affect definitely.
Eddie, is it important that the Orphan Network brand stay in place in Nicaragua as you're dealing with your national government?
I would prefer to keep it. Yes, personally, I would prefer to keep the Orphan Network because they have that in their mind. Yesterday, I was talking with a lawyer who works with the government, and he was saying, yeah, they know you and they know Orphan Network, you know, so it's somehow they know all that we're doing and they connect that to the name rather than trying to switch that over. I think it's not. And they know also, and then like the foreign ministry, like Mi Familia, the family and children ministry, the governance ministry who controls us, all of them know the work we're doing, and they really love, the government itself really love our local church initiative work. You know, for years they have been saying, you know, you should stop working with orphanages, just grow in the community. That's the way, that's the route that you should take in. That's where the future is, you know, working with the community, preventing, you know, breaking cycles of poverty. So they love it, and they connect all that we're doing definitely to the name somehow. So from that perspective, I would say yes, it's important if we can keep it so far. Thank you so much, Errol.
Anybody else have thoughts? Well, I think we'll let you guys go. We're so thankful for your additional questions and your just solidarity. We hope everything made sense today, and hopefully it inspired you. Thank you for being the important part of this ministry that you are, and everybody else that was on the call as well. But
Thank you, Mr. Sorko. So good to see you. It's been a while. Dave and Linda, Alan, Kevin, who just left. Thank you so
And
much.
thank you guys for making such a difference. You guys are doing amazing things.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Kev. I
Amen.
appreciate that.
Hey, great to see everybody.
You
Good to
too.
see you, Jim.
Eddie,
Talk to you
David,
soon.
and Jasmina.
Good to see you,
Neely, good to
James.
see you, Con.
See you, sir.
Bye, guys.
David,
James, good to see you.
good,
Monk.
great to see you.
Unc, grab your phone. It's ringing.
Unc, nice seeing you, Unc and Aunt.
Good to see everybody.
John, thank
Good
you.
Good seeing you, John.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.